Yay, I'm live. Okay. Sweet. I wonder if I'm going to get cut off because of the title. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just checking that Facebook's not going to cut me off because of the title. I've got Instagram and Facebook going on. And, yeah. Alright. It's still there. Just checking. Because of the title, they might cut me off on Facebook. So I'm just making sure that they're going to let me stay live with that. Because I want to talk about this sexual and domestic abuse that women are talking about on Facebook and going around social media, which is a very important topic. Plus, I also want to talk about how do you know what you're meant to do in this lifetime, and how do you even find that quote-unquote life purpose. So really tuning into what it is we are here to do on this planet. So welcome. And thank you for joining me. I'm just going to share this because it seems like it's... Yay. Okay, cool. Facebook is letting me stay alive with that title. So I'm grateful about that because I know I've posted about sex in a topic before and they've knocked me off. They've cut my live stream. Like, nope, sorry, can't do that because of the words or whatever. So, was just checking that out. Good morning. Welcome. Yay. All right, sweet. So I'm just going to make sure I can get these comments up here. Yes. All right. So welcome. This is my first live stream since I have gone live with my new title, I guess you could say. However, it doesn't feel new to me. It just makes complete and utter sense. So welcome. My name is Hannah and I'm an intuitive healer for celebrities. If you haven't met me already, welcome. If you're new to this live stream, please let me know if it's your first time or not. And if you're curious about how I've come to this decision or realization around what I'm here to do on this planet, you're going to have to wait until I finish writing my book, which will be out, well, I plan on finishing it by the end of the year, if not beforehand. So all the details will be in there. So, hi Perla. So if you've got any questions while I'm talking, obviously just comment away and I shall I'll get to them for sure, because obviously there's been a lot of people, you know, a lot of women talking on Facebook with the Me Too, you know, going around, and that they have been sexually harassed or abused in this world. And, you know, I almost said it too. So everyone going, I was like, oh, well, me too, you know, and I didn't for whatever reason. I wondered about that. And I wondered about that in a sense of like, well, why didn't I comment? And maybe I was just observing. Maybe I wanted to sit more with it. I'm not sure why I held back. And then I saw another post. I can't even remember who it was now, but I read it and it was someone's link and they followed a link to somewhere, and it was someone sharing how, and it just made complete sense to me. It was like, well, yes, a lot of women have been sexually abused, harassed and worse, and it's not a very light conversation or topic, and it is something that is taboo and unspoken about, but needs to be spoken about. And obviously, as well, one thing I want to say here is, well, first of all, if you're following my work, phone call, okay. So if you're following my work, you will probably know that, like, I imagine if you're following my work, you believe in the moon cycles, you believe that the earth, you know, like, you know, we're affected by the earth, or we affect the earth, or vice versa, or we do and we don't, you know, who really knows, right? So with what I'm about to say, it is treading into, I guess, heavy territory, or, you know, I'm treading lightly, I guess. But it is also a topic that I know needs to be spoken about and is not spoken about enough. And when I was, okay, I wrote some notes down because I had all this information come through to me, as I do, in the most random of places, like I do in the shower most of the time. I'm in the shower and like just get this massive download, and I'm like, well, hang on a sec, how am I supposed to remember all that? Because I'm like in the shower, I'm like, can't live stream this second. So I got out of the shower and I wrote all these notes because I'm like, oh, I still need to have breakfast and blah. Anyway, so here I am, right? So what I want to say is, you know, the woman that I followed the link and clicked on her page and, you know, saw what she was writing was kind of made me realize why I wasn't feeling really called to share Me Too, even though a lot of people do, because in that article that I read was something, I can't remember the exact words, okay, and please hear me out, especially if you get triggered by what I'm about to say. So it was about, you know, a woman was saying, you know, well, what about the men, you know, what about the men, why don't they have to, you know, why can't they, you know, stand up and say something rather than, you know, the women always being the victim. And I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. And it was kind of like the patriarchal consciousness is still very ripe, yeah, in a sense that, you know, we're focusing on the woman being the victim, and whilst it's like, you know, deep awareness needs to be made to that sort of thing, and it's, you know, completely, like, everything is completely perfect with what's going on, right? It's like, you know, the men, you know, and it was some random comment, it was kind of like, you know, well, the man, you know, the woman has to leave her house and leave everything behind and take the children and go to a shelter and all this sort of thing, whereas the man continues living his life in his house. And, you know, this is a general observation, this is, you know, just, it's not exactly the case, but this is the sort of thing, right? And it's like, you know, and then the man goes on with his life and continues abusing, whereas the woman is like left with all this, you know, emotional trauma and chaos and the whole works, right? And I was like, oh, well, kind of, yeah, I really get that, yeah? And there's nothing wrong with, you know, saying Me Too, and even if you've written Me Too, like I was going to as well, and I just didn't want to, I don't know, I just didn't for some reason. And it's like, you know, it's still that patriarchal for what I said, and it's not about being wrong for posting that, because every single person on this planet has a particular role at any particular level or point in time of their life in recreating history, so recreating history, or rewriting a new future. And I want you to really kind of, you know, take that with you. If there's one piece of information off this live stream, is with every single thought, action, you know, step you take, is, am I rewriting history or am I creating a new future? Because even though, and this is where I was saying, you know, if you follow my work and you don't believe in moons and affection, you know, we affect or they affect, all that sort of thing, if you have a look at the astrological stuff that's going on, now I'm not an astrologer, but I read stuff and I'm like, oh, well, that makes complete sense, right? Something, and like I said, if you want to learn more about that, go to a particular astrologer, because I'm not that. However, I read bits, and at the moment, something about we're stepping into Scorpio, right? And Scorpio is like darkness, subconscious, mystery, sex, all the taboo stuff, right? Deep, you know, all of that. So no wonder all this is coming out. Now, if you don't think that any of this is true, well, you shouldn't be following my work, and I wouldn't imagine I'd have those sort of people here anyway, so I'm going to stop even talking to that. However, what I am saying here is that, like, since 2012, when, you know, the Mayans, you know, everyone's like, oh, the world's going to end, and the end of the Mayan calendar. And I've said it many times that it wasn't the end of the world, but the end of the current consciousness of the world. Now, if you are a light worker, a healer, or whatever teacher you call yourself to be, you have chosen to be here at the most crucial turning point of the history of time, ever since we started waking up, you know, 50,000 years ago, right? because this goes in cycles, yeah? And we went into a deep sleep, so the patriarchal took over, and now we're awakening. Since 2012, we're awakening to, you know, the matriarchal is wakening back up, the feminine is rising, and it's not that it's going to overtake, but it's coming to rebalance the patriarchal. It's coming to take its seat next to rather than below, again, where it's supposed to be, where it should be, where the balance is what I'm trying to say. So, if, you know, like you have, you know, and I highly encourage sharing of, you know, all this sort of thing, and I'm using the Me Too campaign because it's a hot topic right now. And with that, like, when you make any changes or any, what's the word, proclamations or declarations or whatever it is in your life, whatever you're putting out to the world, kind of like just expect for there to be backlash from people, from whether it's physical, like in person someone says something to you, or whether it's a comment that someone says to you on your post, or whether it's energetic that you feel from people. Kind of expect it, right? Because as we know, people always judge what they don't understand, right? Until they understand it. So if you're a healer, light worker, whatever you call yourself on this planet, someone with a higher consciousness level, you have been here, you've chosen to be here at this time to hold that higher awareness, that higher consciousness, that what is going on in the planet right now is supposed to be happening exactly as it is, because we are awakening, right? So from 2012, that consciousness, that's when the first point of change started. Now for these first, I don't know how many years, right? But for the first chunk of time, could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 50 years, right? There's going to be an unraveling of all this unconsciousness. So basically all the unconsciousness, all the stuff that's been hidden, buried, swept under the carpet, or, you know, is out of balance, will come to light and will come to surface. So us as these, you know, healers are here to rebalance and to hold that higher consciousness, because in this space, right, there's a point in time where, you know, like we know that we're here to hold that consciousness. Sometimes we can get lost in it ourselves. So when you put something out on the world, technically social media, that's our kind of means of communication at this time. So, you know, like all those Me Too campaigns, and then people who have gone, oh, well, you know, that's because of this, and you're being a victim, and it's kind of like, you can know that there's going to be at least one person that will say something like that, right? And then it's like, in this kind of victim perpetrator mentality, right, this is where war is, right? Whether it's the Me Too campaign, whether it's a government authority, whether it's something else, this is the shadow, I guess, aspect of what's running in this thread for everything, yeah? So as a healer, light worker, teacher, when you can see this, right, so you will react or be affected by this, yeah? And it is, you know, like, expect that someone out there, you know, will have a go back. Now you can share that, and you can know that this person's gonna rah, and if you tap back, well, that's when you keep that, you know, flow going, yeah? If you still might get hurt, you might get upset, all that sort of thing, but when you can rise to that higher consciousness that this is what's going on, and when you don't react back, that's when that person has got nothing to feed off, and they will either rise and transform, or they will go away to someone else who's going to attack back, right? And keep that energy feed going. So when you are looking at this, you know, the lighter side of, you know, this sexual abuse coming to light, and, you know, the perpetrators and the victims and all this sort of thing, it's like, it's making men step up. And, you know, I do feel a bit sad for, I guess, men in general. You know, like, yes, there's the patriarchal consciousness right now, but there are also, hey Katie, there's also a lot of men rising in their consciousness, doing the work to, I don't know if support's the right word, and I guess it is the right word, because ultimately us as women are needing men to rise in their power as well, in a healthy, balanced way. So there's a lot of, you know, men just kind of feeling the shame as well. Like if you are a conscious man and you haven't been the perpetrator of abuse, you know, for what's been talking about on the internet and that sort of thing about at the moment, there's, you know, like this whole, like if you're feeling shame and you're like, you know, or know that you're feeling everyone else's shame that they're not owning, okay? Because there's a difference between conscious, I'm going to say healers, light workers, and then people who are not conscious, who with this Me Too campaign going around will just ultimately turn a blind eye to it. And, you know, it's like, what is it? A liar believes their own lies, or, you know, or doesn't even know what they're saying, right? And that's just pure unconsciousness in action. So us as conscious light workers and healers have, and, you know, it's our responsibility to hold this higher level and higher frequency of divine awareness of what is actually really going on here. Because if we look at the truth of what Scorpio, of what the sexual abuse that is coming to light, is that ultimately, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm about to say this, ultimately the feminine is rising, right? We're coming, and basically that's just people becoming conscious, right? If we look at it as though, like, you know, like, yes, masculine, the healthy, balanced masculine is the one who holds space, right? But if we look at feminine, it's intuition, it's consciousness, it's awareness. And when, you know, the mature masculine can hold that space, then the feminine can rise, and, you know, there's the balance, right? And I always go back to the structure of the house, and the house is the man, and the feminine, the nurturing and the love of what's going on inside is the feminine, right? So if we can look at it like that, holding space for the chaotic feminine, because that's what it is, right? So with this, you know, rise in awareness about the sexual abuse and everything that's going on, and the perpetrators and the victims, I encourage you to do your own personal shadow work of your victim and perpetrator, okay? Because we've all got, and if you're a conscious light worker, you'll be like, yep, I'm a perpetrator as much as I'm a victim, and I'm playing my role by allowing myself to be either one or two of those, you know. And when we can own those parts within ourselves, what do we do for the collective? We're healing that for the collective. So like I said, if you're feeling shame or guilt, or you're just like, oh, look at people and you're like, oh, like, know that you're just feeling everyone else's stuff that they're not owning, okay? So the way that you can help shift that is by doing your own inner work. Because if you're getting triggered by it, or if you're feeling the pain, or you're feeling the, you know, all of that, like, you know, and it's not about not feeling the pain, you know, it's just the conscious awareness that by you integrating your victim and perpetrator within yourself, you're ultimately helping the collective. Because as a healer, light worker, teacher, you know, that's what we're here to do on this planet, is to integrate this for the people who are unconscious. Because the more we do this, the more the vibration rises, and the more they'll naturally become awake as well. So, okay, so the other thing I wanted to say about this is that the sexual power, right, the feminine, the women who are taking responsibility for being the victim and the perpetrator, okay? Now, I'm going very broad here, I guess is the word. There's so many different situations that I can't even imagine what the pain and all of that people have gone through, the victim, the perpetrator, and both, okay? And how that's affected everyone else around them. So I'm not downplaying or degrading the pain, the trauma, the negative effect that it's had on anybody's life. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm giving a solution on how people can heal and shift what's going on in the collective right now. So when, you know, these women go, yes, me too, yes, look at all us, what we are doing is uniting, okay? And all the men who are feeling that, who are conscious, the men who are conscious are going, hey, on behalf of all the men that are unconscious, I'm saying sorry. And the women are going, oh wow, thank you, you know, like, and so it's us conscious beings who are doing the work for the entire planet. I need goosebumps as I say that. So really important, right, that as a woman receives that, okay? Now this campaign should bring that out enough, okay? That enough willingness to go, you know what, thank you. even though it wasn't directly from my personal perpetrator, I say thank you, because I see that I'm being conscious and awakened from this experience, and I have a purpose, and I'm here to help heal other people, heal myself, heal the world. Yes? And when we can see that, we take back our power. And then we go, do you know what? The other thing about Scorpio and the deep and the mysterious and the, you know, sexual power is the fact that Scorpio is the most sexual sign out of all the 12, you know, zodiac signs, right? And it's deep and it's mysterious and it's very fucking powerful, right? And any of you who has done any sort of tantric or anything like this, everybody knows that sexual power is like the most powerful thing, right? When we awaken our sexuality and be comfortable in our own body, what that does is awakens the kundalini through all of our chakras. It allows us to feel safe in our body, so we come right into our body and we ground into our entire body, not live up here because we've got all this pain and trauma down here and we don't feel comfortable going in there because it's painful, right? It gives us the safety and security to be able to actually go there and actually heal from, you know, whatever is going on. Now, the other thing that I want to say here, and I'd like to say today, is that, let's plug in my phone in. So the other thing here, and I've said this on a live stream before, is that if, you know, like with the, you know, if you have shared Me Too and then you're getting some backlash about it because, oh, you're a victim and being in the victimhood and all that sort of stuff, there's a period of time for going through each and every part of those stages. The victim, the perpetrator, the feeling the pain, the feeling the abuse, the feeling the power, whatever it is. Like, it's part of our awakening of consciousness to feel all of those parts. This is shadow work at its best, because that way we're able to have compassion for other people, basically, and that helps us to rise in general. The other thing I just wanted to say, where I'm getting sidetracked, okay, so when you share something and you have backlash, no matter if it's about Me Too campaign or whatever it is that you're shifting into, like I said before, expect it, okay? Now, when that shifts, what happens, like I said earlier on live stream, is that you can either react back, and so you're going to keep that energy going, you're feeding that energy, or you can accept and feel your own pain, get support from mentors, help people who get it, and allow yourself to get to a point where you can hold space. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to hold space for that person, even you might want to, and that's great. But what it means is that you can turn your focus to where you really want to go. Now, this person will either keep trying, or they will shift and rise, okay, and wake up, or they will just go and find someone else to feed off that energy, okay? So be mindful of where you are. And when I say that, it's because did you know that only 200 years ago was being burnt at the stake for witchcraft abolished? Only 200 years ago. Okay, when we look at the entire history of time, only 2 centuries ago. Now, that is a very, very fresh collective pain, patriarchal rule of actually being killed and burnt at the stake. So when people are starting to come out and go, actually, right, because from 2012, the start of the consciousness shift, and people are, you know, becoming more conscious, and, you know, only 200 years ago were people being burned at the stake. So that's in our collective consciousness, it's in our DNA strands. So if you're at all into any sort of alternative healing method or awakening consciousness or helping people in any way, shape or form, you will have these threads. So if you start to, you know, step out into the world, that's something that will come up very rapidly and quickly for you to shift and heal. So one last thing that I wanted to say here is that I wrote all this down because I was in the shower and I got all this like download for the live stream, and I'm like, hang on a sec, I'm on live, like how can I do a live stream when I'm in the shower? So one thing that I wanted to say, okay, so the more that you can hold that consciousness and awareness of, you know, the higher reasoning behind everything that's going on, right, is that we are really rising in our sexual power. We are rising in so much more. There's so much, apologies going on, and you know, like, we're wondering how to change the world, and it's by doing all these little things that we're doing, because everything is in divine and perfect order. And when we are actually able to remember that and hold that space, that's when our light is, you know, going to hold that. And you know, when we can hold that space of transformation and compassion for someone, it's not that we have to fix them. This is not what it's about. It's about seeing the truth of the situation, so being able to hold them. They'll either shift and transform and rise, or they'll go somewhere else and do it until they get to that point. And it just means that you're able to do that for somebody without feeling guilt. You're able to do it with compassion rather than feeling guilty and like you should be helping them, right? So when we can do that and hold that high level of consciousness and awareness and do our inner work, if we're being triggered, then we're able to hold that space, and that's what is going to allow the planet to shift. So I teach all of these steps and tools in Trust Your Intuition, and Trust Your Intuition is open now. This is, you'll never see Trust Your Intuition at this price again. So if you really want to do this stuff and heal those past life wounds of the witches and being burned at the stake only 200 years ago for using herbs like rosemary because it helps with calming emotions or calming nerves in a cup of boiling water like tea, then get into Trust Your Intuition. Like I said, you will never see it at this price again. I'll post the link in the comments, where doors will close on the 29th of November. So you got a little bit of time to get in there, and I highly recommend, if you've ever thought about it or resonate with any of this, then get in now, because you'll never see it at this price again. If you don't want to do it yourself, and you want me to do it for you and take you through and heal you, basically, if you don't feel like you've got the capability to do it yourself, I do offer one-on-one healing sessions, consultations, so you can send me a private message and I'll send you a link to all the details of that. If you think this live stream will help awaken consciousness about the Me Too campaign that's going on now, or pretty much any victim perpetrator you know, situation that's going on the planet today, please share this. Now, this is also the last time that I will be doing this live stream on my personal account. So if you want to be notified when I'm doing live streams on my business page, I will share them to my personal page, but it will be the last time that I actually go live from my personal page. So please turn on notifications on my business page. I'll post a link in the comments for that too. That's Reality Awareness. And yeah, if you've liked this, please subscribe, please turn on notifications, and yeah, please share if it has helped you. And let me know if you've got any questions. If you're watching the replay, post in the comments below and I shall definitely come back to it. So thank you very much for watching me live. Lots of love. Keep it real. Namaste.